Hearing our first communications from our crew members today, NASA astronauts Chris Williams and Jessica Meir. This is the second spacewalk for Williams and the fifth for Meir.
Airlock, looking for your go for step 82.
Yeah, stand by on that, Sophie. We're taking care of our steps.
Sure.
If you're just joining us, we're continuing to bring you live coverage ahead of the start of the 280th spacewalk outside the International Space Station in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades. Today's spacewalk prime goal is to replace a wrist joint on the Canadarm2, which has been on board the International Space Station since 2001 and has been
on one. We've completed our step. You go to pick up in step 81, and the go for deep rest clock has expired, so you can continue with the crew lock deep rest cue card.
You go in step 81 and then continuing with the crew lock deep rest cue card.
Copy.
On the next step, without touching, I want you to check on the UIA that switch deep rest pump power is off OFS.
Affirm, it's OFS.
I want you to verify deep rest pump enable LED is on.
Enable LED is on.
Job. Now we're going to transition to the deep rest cue card.
Copy.
Jessica, now action for your side. On the UIA, I want you to take the switch deep press pump power to on.
Press pump power is on.
In 10 seconds. Now, Jessica, I want you to take the deep press pump man ISO valve to open.
Copy.
View expect an alert tone and monitor CP gauge below 5.5.
CV1. The press pump man isolation valve is open.
And depressurization is now underway. NASA astronauts Chris Williams and Jessica Meir are inside the crew lock portion of the International Space Station's Quest airlock. Inside the equipment lock portion are European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Adano and NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway, who helped get our spacewalking duo suited up for today's spacewalk. Pressure inside the crew lock now down to 12.75 pounds per square inch. Again, we're going to get that down to 0 or vacuum before the airlock is open to the vacuum of space.
Jessica and Chris, for your information, we are now 620 millimeters of mercury and descending.
EV1. EV2.
And quick question for you, did you experience the same intensity of noise as last night?
EV1, have not heard any noise.
I'm not sure what you said. I think you were talking about the noise. The noise is so loud, it was difficult to make out what you said.
Copy. Yes, that's exactly it. My question was about the volume of the noise.
Yeah.
And EV1, I am getting those sounds now. They don't appear as loud as last time, but they're pretty loud.
For EV2,
IV copies. Thank you.
extremely loud.
Jessica and Chris, the crew lock pressure is now 530 millimeters of mercury and descending.
EV1 copies.
EV2.
Pressure inside the crew lock now approaching 10 pounds per square inch of pressure. In the crew lock, NASA astronauts Chris Williams and Jessica Meir continuing to step through procedures during depressurization. Once pressure inside the crew lock has reached 0, the duo will switch their suits to battery power, officially marking the start of today's spacewalk. They'll then be given the go to open up the hatch and float out into the vacuum of space. The primary tasks of today's spacewalk are to remove the wrist joint no longer working on the Canadarm2 and replace it with a new joint that's already on orbit to restore functionality to the Canadarm2. The arm is used in a variety of space station operations, including capture of the Cygnus spacecraft and installation to the International Space Station, as well as for certain spacewalks and robotic work and experiment work done outside the International Space Station. The Canadarm2 has had 3 other previous spacewalks for maintenance on it. The first on June 13th, 2002, during STS-111 by astronauts Franklin Chang Diaz and Felipe Perron, who replaced a wrist joint as well.
The crew lock pressure is now 450 millimeters of mercury and still decreasing.
EV1.
EV2.
The next spacewalk on the Canadarm2 occurred on October 5th, 2017, and was done by NASA astronauts Randy Bresnik and Mark Vande Hei to replace one of 2 redundant latching end effectors, or hands, on the Canadarm2. And the most recent spacewalk was January 23rd, 2018, by Vande Hei and NASA astronaut Scott Tingle, who replaced the second of 2 latching end effectors, which exhibited degraded snare performance.
Quick briefing. In a couple minutes, I will ask you to put the depress pump man alpha valve to close, but not yet, only on my go.
Copy.
And we we are in a brief handover period between our satellites, but will regain views of the crew on board the International Space Station here shortly. This view of inside Mission Control Houston at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas.
We are at 6 PSIA.
The Orbit 2 team is being led by NASA Flight Director Fiona Ankoviak. And serving as Capcom, or Capsule Communicator today, is JAXA astronaut Aki Hoshide. Our ground IV during today's spacewalk is Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons, and will be the prime voice that Williams and Mir hear once they are outside the International Space Station and stepping through the procedures to repair the wrist joint on the Canadarm2. Pressure inside the crew lock of the International Space Station continuing to decrease, now at under 7 pounds per square inch of pressure. Today's spacewalk is the 280th in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades. It's the third of 2026, as well as the third of Expedition 74. And our spacewalkers today are NASA astronauts Chris Williams and Jessica Mir. This will be the second spacewalk for Williams and the fifth for Mir. The goal of today's spacewalk is to replace a wrist joint that malfunctioned during normal Canadarm2 operations on May 27th. The arm drew elevated motor current and did not move as expected, and NASA worked alongside the Canadian Space Agency to understand the issue and determined a spacewalk was required to replace the joint using a spare already aboard the space station. Repairs to robotics like the Canadarm2 are normal and expected after more than 25 years of continuous operations. The system was designed with replaceable components and planned for maintenance in mind.
Jessica, in about 10 seconds on my go, you will put this depressment mine also valve to close.
Copy.
5 seconds. You are go.
Depressment man, I said valve is closed.
Yes.
At this time, pressure inside the crew lock is 5 pounds per square inch of pressure and has been paused as expected as system checks of the spacesuits are underway.
To switch your disk to status until leak check question mark is displayed.
EV1.
EV2, leak check.
And long yes.
EV1, leak check, wait.
EV2.
Copy.
Following these system checkouts and ensuring everything is in a good configuration, depressurization will continue back down to vacuum, at which point the duo will be given the go to open up the hatch and begin today's spacewalk. The start of a U.S. spacewalk is marked from the time that a spacesuit is turned on to internal battery power, which has not yet began, but we'll keep you apprised once the spacewalk is officially underway.
Check complete, EV2. Option EVA.
Copy.
Leak check complete, EV1. Set O2 EVA and work.
EV2 is an EVA.
Copy EV2, your O2 actuator is an EVA.
Suit checks are complete for NASA astronaut Chris Williams, who is serving as EV1 today. He'll be wearing the spacesuit with red stripes.
EV1, I understand your O2 actuator is in EVA too. Well done. Jessica, I would like you to depress pump man ISO valve to open and expect both of you alert tones.
Copy. And ISO valve is open.
Copy. Both of you, I would like you to monitor suit pH below 5.5.
EV1.
EV2.
And 2 good suit checks. Depress has now continued back inside the crew lock. Pressure now under 5 pounds per square inch.
Jessica, the next step is going to be for you again, and on my go, when the pressure will be at the correct value, I will ask you to close again this depress pump man ISO valve, only on my go.
EV2.
And if you're just joining us this morning, welcome. We are continuing to bring you live coverage as we complete preparations for a spacewalk outside the International Space Station by 2 NASA astronauts, NASA astronaut Chris Williams and NASA astronaut Jessica Meir. They're both suited up in their spacesuits and in the crew lock out of view at this moment. Depressurization of the crew lock is continuing, and now at about 3 pounds per square inch of pressure. But back inside the equipment lock of the International Space Station, we can see European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Adeneau on the left, as well as NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway, who were primed for getting our spacewalking duo suited up and ready to go out into the vacuum of space this morning. Once pressure inside the crew lock has reached 0, the duo will switch their suits to battery power, which will officially mark the start of today's spacewalk. At this point, they'll be given the go to open the hatch and float out into the vacuum of space and get started on their task for today, which is to repair a wrist joint in the Canadarm2, which has been on board the International Space Station since 2001. It launched April 19th, 2001 on Space Shuttle Endeavour and was installed April 22nd, 2001 by Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield and NASA astronaut Scott Parazynski. Today's spacewalk is the 280th in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades, and is the third of this year, as well as the third for Expedition 74. Today's spacewalk is the second for NASA astronaut Chris Williams and the fifth for NASA astronaut Jessica Meir. Williams is serving as spacewalk crew number 1 and is wearing a spacesuit with red stripes.
In about 10 seconds, you will put the Deep Space Man ISO to close. 82.
And Meir is serving as crew member 2 and will wear the unmarked spacesuit today.
You have a go.
The ISO is closed.
Copy. And then on the UIA, you will take the switch depress pump power to off OFF.
Press pump power is off OFF.
All right, and Jenny in Houston, over to you.
Good morning, station, and good morning, Chris and Jessica. Happy to be with you and ready to take your tether config.
Good morning. EV1 is starting with my tether config. Starting on my left D-ring extender, I have a small hook of my left waist tether, locked black on black, going up to my mini workstation. On my right D-ring extender, I also have my right waist tether small hook, locked black on black, gate closed, going up to my mini workstation. Also on my right D-ring extender, I have my safety tether red hook that is locked black on black, gate closed, going to my red reel. My red reel is unlocked, and my yellow hook is going back to my mini workstation. I also have ED2's yellow hook attached to my safety tether reel to the tether point. That large hook is locked black on black, going to ED2's red reel. ED2's red reel is unlocked, and I see that going back to her right D-ring extender, and I see the red hook is on that, and I see it is gate closed, slider locked, black on black.
Can take over from there.
Copy.
I can see, Chris just said, my red hook, gate closed slider is locked on my right D-ring extender. Also on the right D-ring extender is my waist tether hook, and that is gate closed, slider locked. My large hook of my waist tether is on the airlock D-ring extender, and I can see that is gate closed, slider locked.
All right, you two, we copy a good config. I will talk you through the remainder of the depress side of the cue card. Next up, when the crew lock DPDT is approximately 0, you can expect an alert tone. MCC will look into pressure for hatch opening.
E1 copy.
82.
And you are hearing a familiar voice now communicating with Mir and Williams. That is Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons, who you may recognize her voice from the Artemis II mission, where she served as Capcom and communicated with Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy quite frequently. Today she'll have the prime task of communicating with Williams and Mir as they step through procedures to repair a wrist joint on the Canadarm2. Pressure inside the crew lock portion of the International Space Station continuing to decrease, now at less than 2 pounds per square inch of pressure. Once completely down to vacuum, the crew will get their go to turn their spacesuits on to battery power, which will mark the official start of today's spacewalk. Back inside the International Space Station, European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Adeneau, as well as NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway, are continuing to get things cleaned up after helping Mir and Williams get suited up into their spacesuits. This portion of the International Space Station that you're seeing on your screen is called the equipment lock, rightfully so. It houses a lot of equipment that the crew uses on board the International Space Station and is the prime location for U.S. spacewalkers to get suited up and ready to go outside the hatch. Just beyond the silver door that you see there, what we refer to as the hatch, is the crew lock portion of the International Space Station, where NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Chris Williams are continuing to have the pressure decrease inside the crew lock, eventually getting down to 0 pounds per square inch of pressure, or essentially equivalent to vacuum. We're now at 1.15 pounds per square inch and closing in. It looks like when the crew does exit the airlock this morning, it will be during a day pass for the International Space Station. The International Space Station orbits the Earth every 90 minutes, so the crew on board sees a sunset every 45 minutes and a sunrise every 45 minutes. The International Space Station flies about 250 miles overhead at a speed of 17,500 miles per hour and has been continuously occupied since the year 2000. In this time frame, over 290 individuals representing 26 countries and 5 international partners have visited the International Space Station. Pressure inside the crew lock portion of the International Space Station now less than 1 pound per square inch, approaching the 0.90 pound per square inch mark.
Chris and Jessica, the crew lock is at 0.75 psi. We're expecting around 5 more minutes.
Q1 copies, 5 more minutes.
EV2.
And this view from outside the International Space Station, you can see the airlock portion of the Quest airlock where the crew lock is located, and the crew members are suited up inside their spacesuits as pressure has now reached 0 pounds per square inch. We will stand by for the suits to be switched on to battery power, which will mark the official start of today's spacewalk. And at that point, shortly after, we will see the hatch swing open and our crew members exit the International Space Station. First out will be NASA astronaut Chris Williams, followed by NASA astronaut Jessica Meir. This will be the second spacewalk for Williams and the fifth for Meir.
EV2 has adjusted TCV for 4.
Copy, TCV4.
At this time, the International Space Station is flying 260 statute miles over the northeast coast of South America. And in the upper right of your screen there, you can see the Soyuz MS-28 spacecraft, which will be the ride home for NASA astronaut Chris Williams just next month. Pressure inside the crew lock continuing to tick down slowly but surely, now at 0.58 pounds per square inch of pressure. Once outside the International Space Station, the first task for our spacewalking duo will be to get their work site set up and prepared, get everything in a good configuration, and then they'll work to retrieve the spare joint that is temporarily stowed on board the International Space Station. At that point, they will remove the latching end effector of the Canadarm2 and temporarily stow that while they gain access to the failed joint location. Joint number 5 is the joint that is having some issues. They'll then work to remove that failed joint and install the spare joint before putting back on the latching end effector, cleaning up their work site, and heading back in the International Space Station for today. Today's spacewalk is expected to last about 6 hours and 40 minutes.
Chris and Jess, all our data looks good. We will have you verify on the EV hatch gauge a pressure less than 0.6 psi.
EV1, I see 0.4 psi on the hatch gauge.
Copy. You are go to open and stow the EV hatch.
EV1 copies. Opening the hatch in work.
Houston copies. Jack and Sophie, you have a go to close the emergency MPEV.
Closing emergency MPEV. Copy.
And everything continuing to go smoothly here ahead of today's spacewalk, which will be the 280th in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades. Pressure.
EV hatch is open and in the hatch keep.
Copy. Good config. You can switch power to BAT. Please stagger your switch throws and expect a warning tone.
Copy. EV1 throwing switch first. EV1 power is in BAT.
Power to BAT.
Copy both. Switch display to Pro to verify a functional display.
EV1 display functional.
E2 display functional.
Copy. Jess, on the UIA, switch power EV1 and 2 to off, OFF, and then check all 4 LEDs off.
I see power off, EV1 and EV2, and I see all 4 LEDs are off.
Disconnect your SCUs from your DCMs. Install your DCM covers and stow your SCUs in their pouches.
EV1 copies in work.
EV2 is disconnected from small ice flakes.
EV1 disconnected, also some small ice flakes.
Copy.
Expected suit P high message for EV2.
Yep, EV1 also has suit P high. Expected.
EV2 SCU is in the pouch, and the DCM is also covered.
Copy for EV2, and we copy your messages. No action.
And with both spacesuits on battery power at 7:20 a.m. Central Time, our spacewalk is officially underway.
Good config. You can check the deep press pump manual isolation valve is closed.
Press pump manual isolation valve is closed.
Set your temperature control valve to max hot.
EV2 max hot.
EV1 max hot.
Copy both. Switch water on.
EV1 water on.
EV2 water on.
Check DCM blank and bite off, OFF.
EV1 DCM blank bite off.
EV2 off, blank.
Your go to set your TCV as desired and report it to us. We will take all subsequent TCV changes.
EV1 in work. EV1 TCV at 5.
EV2 is set at 4.
Copy. Settings 5 and 4. Report your suit pressure gauge.
EV1 suit P gauge 4.2.
EV2 pressure gauge reads 4.6. It'll be higher than norm.
Copy. 4.2 and 4.6.
I'm seeing the same on my DCM to P4.6.
Copy. We are in the middle of a day pass with over 20 minutes till sunset. Set your visors as required.
One copies.
And Jenny, no words on my slightly higher than normal suit pressure?
We have no concerns, Jess. It will breathe down, and it's within the range that we were expecting.
Okay, EV2 copies.
Okay, and Houston has checked your suit parameters. We are good to go. So with that, Chris, you can open the hatch thermal cover. You can release the hook from the magnetic plate D-ring and attach it to the stowage tether point.
EV1, in work. Thermal cover is released. 6 Sharpie lines visible.
Copy and confirm you cinched the strap until snug.
Yep, cinched until snug. And attached to the tether point.
Good config. Chris, you can egress the airlock, and you're looking to attach your hook to the forward starboard curved handrail D-ring.
And we are seeing the thermal cover of the Quest airlock now open. Here shortly we will expect to see first NASA astronaut Chris Williams float out of the hatch, followed by NASA astronaut Jessica Meir. And there you can see NASA astronaut Chris Williams exiting the airlock. This is his second spacewalk.
EV1, my yellow hook is attached to the forward starboard curved handrail.
Copy. I'll take your checks.
Copy, closed, black on black. For my safety, my red reel, and my red reel is unlocked.
Okay, those are good checks, Chris. You can attach Jess's hook to the airlock handrail 0554 port stanchion. We'll also take checks.
Copy, 0554 port stanchion and work.
Good readback.
And as Williams continues to make his way outside of the Quest airlock, you did hear him communicate with the ground IV Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons about some hooks as well as tethers. He's getting everything configured and in a good spot before he continues on his way to the work site today.
EV2's yellow hook is on the port stanchion of handrail 0554. Slider gate is closed. Slider is locked. Black on black.
Good config, Chris. You can give Jess a go to release her waist tether from the airlock D-ring extender and turn on your HECA.
Copy. Jessica, you have a go to release from the airlock D-ring extender, and my HECA is on.
Copy, go. I have released my waist tether, and I have the crew lock bag ready whenever you're in position.
Stand by. Maneuvering back under.
Houston, copies all.
Stand by on. Let me just move my waist tether on the other side of your safety tether.
No rush, whenever you're ready.
Okay, our safety tethers are clear, and I am maneuvering under hatch and getting my DRT ready.
And I see your tether just behind your helmet.
Copy.
Williams continuing to make his way outside of the Quest airlock as he begins the second spacewalk of his career. Next up will be NASA astronaut Jessica Meir, who is completing the fifth of her career. Today's spacewalk is the 280th spacewalk in support of station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades.
Short handover.
Okay, I have the handrail of the bag. I got the bag. Working on the rec.
The goal of today's spacewalk is to replace a malfunctioning joint on the Canadarm that observed a elevated motor current on May 27th and did not move as expected. NASA worked alongside the Canadian Space Agency to understand the issue and determined today's spacewalk was required to replace the joint using a spare already on board the space station.
Copy that. Gonna clear this bag from my safety tether and get it secured.
Jenny, the crew lock bag wrecked from the airlock. The small hook is now on the UIA.
Houston copies. We're back with you after the handover. Chris, when you're ready, you can give Jess a go to egress the airlock.
Copy, Jess. You have a go to egress. I am on the forward side.
Copy.
And you did just hear that NASA astronaut Jessica Meir has the go to exit the airlock as well, so she'll soon be coming out here shortly.
Inside.
You also heard that Williams got the go to turn on his HECA or helmet camera because the space station orbits the Earth every 90 minutes as it's traveling 17,500 miles per hour. The crew sees a sunset and a sunrise every 45 minutes, so those helmet cameras are particularly important during a night pass, but can be useful during day passes too as the crew prepares and does their work aboard the International Space Station.
Okay, so you coming out.
We'll move to the outside.
Okay.
And Johnny, I'm out of the airlock and I've got a waist tether down.
Houston copies. You can turn on your HECA and work together for buddy checks.
And we both have both spacewalkers now out of the Quest airlock.
My HECA's on.
Copy, HECA on. We'll also take the thermal cover closed.
EV1 in work.
You also heard some communication from the ground saying that the crew has the go for buddy checks. You'll hear this throughout today's spacewalk, and this is a way to get eyes on each individual crew member and check out their tethers and make sure everything is configured in a way that is expected, nothing is tangled up, as well as complete a glove check to inspect the gloves, make sure everything looks as expected on the gloves, there's no rips or tears, as well as a HAP check. The HAP is the helmet absorption pad and is installed inside the spacesuit's helmet as a precautionary measure in case there were to be any water or liquid that would leak out inside of the helmet. So the crew does a check to make sure that that HAP is dry from time to time.
All right, I see both lights on all. Okay, I'm looking at your HECA, and I see a good green light. I see both your helmet lights are on and your visor is down. I see 1, 2, 3 tabs up. I see your left safer handle is up, UP, the man ISO valve handle. See? A little further back. There it is.
Got it, Dad.
Okay, yep, I see it down. And I see your safer HCM deploy is down.
See.
All right, I see you've got your tether in a good config. I see it not tangled with anything. And I see your BRT is good. You look like you're in a good config.
Okay, copy, and I can report that my HAP is dry, and I have a knob.
Copy that. And I also have a dry HAP. And I'm going to glove check.
Okay, I'm looking at your light. I see your lights are on. I see 1, 2. Can you turn towards your left a little bit? All right, I see 1, 2, 3 tabs up. Can see both of your safer handles are down. And I would suggest getting that bag a little bit tighter.
Yep.
Maybe off to your left side a little bit more and then tighten. Yeah, that looks good.
Copy.
All right, I see your tether looks like it's in a good config. And I think that completes a good buddy check for you.
Copy, good buddy check.
Houston copies good buddy checks. Great job, you two. With that, we are ready to start our translations. So, Chris, you will be translating to the forward edge of ESP2 via the starboard side. And Jess, you are headed up to the port CETA cart.
EV1 copies.
EV2.
And I'm just going to move up onto the toolboxes and then reach across.
And with good buddy checks, the crew is now going to translate or begin to make their way to the work site for today. The work site is fairly close to the airlock, so they don't have too far to go. During today's spacewalk, you'll be able to tell our crew members apart by the stripes on their spacesuits.
Across.
So NASA astronaut Chris Williams will be wearing the suit with red stripes, and NASA astronaut Jess Kamir will be wearing the unmarked spacesuit.
You are 10 minutes up. And Jess, a caution for you, avoid inadvertent contact with the deployed cable. Chris, on this translation, we suggest that you weave your safety tether as required along the starboard side of ESP2.
V1 copies.
And as the duo continues to make their way to their work site, we are getting some views of the Earth below as they do so. The International Space Station is currently flying 268 statute miles off the coast of Antarctica, off the southern tip of Africa. The International Space Station orbits the Earth every 90 minutes, and you can actually view it fly overhead. If you're interested in seeing where the International Space Station flies overhead near you, you can check out nasa.gov/spot-the-station or check out our app. You can see when the space station will be flying overhead and go outside and take a look for yourself.
Copy, Fram, forward, starboard, handrail for EV1.
Stay firm.
Steady, I'm at the port Utica. I see my APFR.
Excellent. We see you there. That's the APFR in WIF 3. We'll have you retrieve it, stow it on your BRT.
Thank you.
EV1 has attached the large hook of the AET external to that crew lock bag to the forward starboard Fram handrail.
Nice work. Next step is to configure the MUT ball stack MUT on the CTC port handrail.
Copy that. And I realized I put it on the starboard port handrail. I'm switching over to the forward starboard handrail.
Houston copies.
And here you're seeing a split screen view of our two spacewalkers today. On the left, NASA astronaut Chris Williams' helmet camera. You can see that tool bag box item kind of in the center of the screen. That's his mini workstation, which we discussed before. It carries the tools and tethers and all the equipment that he'll need for today's spacewalk. And on the right hand side of your screen there, you see NASA astronaut Jessica Mears' helmet camera.
I've got the APFR on my BRT.
Copy, Jess. You can translate down to ESP2 via the lab strut and the gap spanner. We'll take a double press of the port Cedar-Cart brake release and a poor man's fair lead on the lab.
And those communications confirming that NASA astronaut Jessica Meir retrieved the APFR. This is the Articulating Portable Foot Restraint, and is essentially a foot restraint that the crew members get into to be able to secure their legs in the microgravity environment of space and work during a spacewalk.
E1 is ready to the ball stack MUT and is releasing from crew lock bag, and I'm going to put it on the CTC.
That's a good readback, Chris. You will configure it such that the MUT is facing zenith and port to receive the spare joint later.
Copy, MUT, zenith, and port.
Good readback.
Okay, MUT ball stack MUT is locked, facing zenith and port.
Looks great. Thanks, Chris. Chris, with the speedy work you made of the mutt ball stack mutt, we will have you get a head start on attaching the mutt ball stack mutt ret to the spare joint MLI and getting a head start on releasing the MLI from the spare joint.
Copy that. We'll start getting attached to the spare joint MLI.
Good readback.
And I'm on the lab, Jenny. I'll do my 4-man fair lead.
Copy.
And this view of NASA astronaut Chris Williams in the center of your screen. Again, he's going to be wearing the spacesuit with the red stripes today. He's EV1. He's been given the go from the ground to begin to remove MLI. MLI is multi-layer insulation and is used outside the International Space Station to protect a lot of items that are going to be exposed to vacuum for a longer period of time. So he's going to work to remove that MLI from the spare joint that is already outside the International Space Station, staged and ready to go. This spare joint will be installed on the Canadarm2 today as part of the spacewalk.
20 seconds to a short handover.
Copy.
As you can see on your screen, it's beginning to get a little bit darker for our crew members. Again, the International Space Station orbits the Earth every 90 minutes, so the crew sees a sunrise and a sunset every 45 minutes. We're in a brief handover between our satellites, but you are looking at a view inside Mission Control Houston at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. The team of flight controllers here on the ground is being led by NASA Flight Director Fiona Ankoviak. And today's ground IV, which is the prime voice that you hear communicating to our spacewalkers, is Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons. To her right is our Capcom, or capsule communicator, JAXA astronaut Aki Hoshide, who will be communicating with the crew that is back on board the space station.
Some warnings and cautions for you both.
V1 copies and ready to copy.
EV2.
All right, avoid electrical connectors, grounding tabs, and sensitive interfaces on the temp stow and primary FSE rings, and sensitive areas on the joints SLE and CLA. We're also coming up on our EDF work, so avoid pulling too hard on the EDF lanyards and side-loading the EDFs.
V1 copies.
EV2.
For EV1, quick question on our RET choreography here. Right now, I still have a RET going from the crew lock bag to the mutt ball stack mutt. Is that one eventually coming down to the FSE?
A-firm, you can put that RET on the FSE.
Okay, in work.
Jenny, I see my 4-man fair lead does seem to be staying in place.
Copy.
All right, Jessica, I see you coming down with your APFR. You're looking in a good configuration.
EV2. See where 6.
And Jess, can I verify, is your 4-man fair lead staying in place, or did you report that it's not staying in place?
I reported that I saw that it was.
Okay, good news. Thanks, Jess. And while I have you, can you just confirm that you did the CETA cart brake release?
Actually, no, I did not. I guess I needed another reminder there. I did not do that brake release, so we'll keep that in mind for the way back.
That's fine. It was precautionary. We'll catch it on the backside. We'd like you to continue getting to the work site and getting the APFR ready.
See.
And on the left hand of your screen there, you are seeing NASA astronaut Chris Williams' helmet cam as he removes that MLI multi-layer insulation from the spare joint that is staged and ready to go outside the International Space Station. Meanwhile, NASA astronaut Jessica Meir is continuing to make her way to today's work site and get her articulating portable foot restraint installed.
I think I might need to go around to the other side to get the Velcro on the back of it.
Okay, copy.
It is attached to, we have a ret going to the D-ring on an adjustable from the ball stack mutt. One end of that adjustable is attached to the tether point on that.
Copy. And Jenny, I'm going to put this at a clocking of 3.
Affirm, clocking of 3. Would you like your additional settings?
Not quite yet.
Okay, copy. I can confirm clocking of 3. And nice work, Chris. You can translate around ESP2 to the aft side of the spare joint.
Copy. Heading around to the aft side.
And if you're just joining us this morning, we are now 31 minutes into the 280th spacewalk outside the International Space Station. NASA astronauts Chris Williams and Jessica Meir are working to translate to their work sites in preparation of swapping out a failed wrist joint on the Canadarm2.
And install of the APFR. Jess, your next task is to continue with the stowage of the MLI on the ball stack mutt. Sounds like Chris got it tethered for you and potentially released the quarter-turn fasteners. Once he can release on the aft side, you can bundle the MLI using the adjustable.
And I'm going back around, looking in a good configuration here.
At this time, the work site is successfully set up and prepared for today's spacewalk. Williams did remove that MLI or multi-layer insulation from the spare joint. Next up, our spacewalking duo will work together to utilize the pistol grip tool, or PGT, to remove bolts on the spare joint fasteners. And this spare wrist joint will then be temporarily stowed while the duo makes its way over to the Canadarm2 and does some work on the end effector.
Great. And Chris, we also see you getting in position to assist with that MLI, and then you'll be positioning for the joint drive bolt.
Copy.
You guys are doing great, making up good time. Just a reminder, our workspace is really tight today, so we're keeping a close eye and also want you to be wary of any sort of helmet or visor bumps in your workspace today.
Me too.
Okay, EV1 on the left side.
Copy.
And in this view, we do have a view of both of our crew members, our spacewalkers today. On the upper left portion of your screen is NASA astronaut Jessica Meir. She's wearing the unmarked spacesuit. On the right is NASA astronaut Chris Williams wearing the suit with the red stripes.
I'm going to fix that. I took off a little piece of joint MLI.
Copy. It's hard when we make everything the same color.
Yep. Okay, that MLI that I unvelcroed is velcroed back down.
Copy. And again, you're looking for that joint drive bolt, and your first action will be to press the button and move the drive handle to EVA.
Okay, stand by. I'm going to get into a gear body position here.
Sounds great.
And Jessica Meir does have that MLI, that multi-layer insulation that was removed by Williams, now tethered to her. Williams is going to get the pistol grip tool configured to be able to release bolts from the spare wrist joint there that you see in the center of your screen. Eventually, this will be installed on the Canadarm2 as part of today's spacewalk.
Copy, I'm working on my BRT. I have the MLI bundled.
Nice work. That looks great to us, Jess. You can tend it above the CTC and take the square scoop from the mutt ball stack mutt. You'll be installing that on the spare joint, handle pointed aft, and you can leave the mutt jaws open.
Copy. That's not bundled quite as well as I would like, but I think it is out of the way. I think we can leave it where it is for now. I'll work on the scoop.
Copy, and we are happy with that MLI config. Thanks, Jess.
Right.
I've got a BRT down and rigidized, and I'm working my PGT.
Copy. Let me know when you're ready for settings.
Go.
And Jenny, that's handle pointing aft, correct?
A-firm, handle pointing aft.
You may have heard the acronym BRT. That stands for Body Restraint Tether, and that is a way in which the crew members attach themselves to the International Space Station. The crew have a variety of different hooks and fasteners and tethers that they use to make sure that they are always securely attached to the space station or equipment aboard it.
Display is reset.
Good feedback. All right, Chris, we are ready for you to drive this joint drive bolt. This will be 225 turns. We will back you up with timing from the ground. It'll be about 4.5 minutes. Let us know when you start.
Copy that. I am ready to start turns. Jessica, I'm starting turns now.
Okay, copy.
And Jess, when you are able, we will take a visual check on the direction of the joint drive. We're looking for counterclockwise from your perspective.
And this view from NASA astronaut Chris Williams' helmet cam as he utilizes the pistol grip tool to release those bolts on the spare joint on the International Space Station that will be installed on the Canadarm2.
Turns.
And from our external cameras, we are actually able to verify good motion. So, Jess, we no longer need that check from you, and we are comfortable waiting for the scoop install until after the bolt, if needed.
Okay, yeah, I can confirm that motion right now as well, moving counterclockwise from my perspective.
Excellent.
I am going to pause with the scoop because I don't have anywhere to put my right hand, and it would basically, my right hand would be near the mechanism that's turning. So I'm going to wait with the scoop.
That sounds great to us, Jess. We're learning a lot about this work site today, so no problem.
I can say that I can give a very good inspection right now of the spare. On this side, I see all good connectors. I don't see any fraud. I don't see anything off nominal.
Good news. Thank you.
Turning much more slowly than I anticipated.
And Williams continuing to drive those bolts. As the ground stated, this will take about 4.5 minutes. Doesn't always take this long to drive bolts during spacewalks, but this is a particularly long bolt.
Okay, I have a scoop in my hand. Let's see if I can temp stow that somewhere.
Yeah, and we can have you wait too, Jess. That's totally fine. We're over halfway through this bolt.
Okay.
$200. Firm 225.
Copy. 225 turns.
All right, we got 225 turns.
Copy. Good turn count. Thanks so much, Chris. You can stow the PGT.
And I can read it. I can see, wow, Chris. I can report negative 69 degrees on the dial. Looks exactly right.
Great news. Wonderful eyesight. We love it.
And Chris, I have a scoop in my hand, and maybe we can work together to put it on this side because I don't have anything to hold on to.
Yep. Stand by one. Let me just volunteer put this joint drive bolt back to motor before I forget.
Copy.
A-firm, that is your next step. Back to motor.
Joint drive is in motor, and the button's popped up.
Copy. Good config. You can assist with the scoop.
Copy.
Some happy reports from the team here on the ground following those 225 drives by the pistol grip tool done by NASA astronaut Chris Williams. So you can see on your screen there helmet cams from both of our spacewalkers today as they work together to help get this spare joint removed.
I think it should be a lot easier from that side. That's the correct orientation. And I will start looking at the ATFR. So, Jenny, first I'm going to move Chris's from 5 to 4.
Affirm, but we do have a step to move the scoop rets to the starboard fram handrail. I want to make sure that you can do that as well.
Okay, copy.
Okay, scoop is on and locked. The handle pointing aft.
Okay, well done. I will grab the other end and get the tether on the starboard handrail.
Copy. For me.
And the jaws ended up closing, so I will reopen them.
Copy. Release the rat from the scoop.
Oh, no, leave the rat.
Firm.
I'm going to release this end.
Sorry, yep.
Yes, this is the intent of this is that it is the tether for the spare once we remove it, so we are just tethering it to the fram.
Copy. Yep.
Okay, it is tethered to the fram handrail. I think one of the things we might want to consider is, well, I guess the crew lock bag will be gone. Having the crew lock bag right here has made it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be gone when we're back here.
I concur with that. It is kind of in the way, but we'll, yeah.
All right, Houston copies all. We concur it should be out of the way soon.
I'm going to check on this mutt because...
And if you're just joining us this morning, welcome. We are continuing to cover the 280th spacewalk outside the International Space Station. We're 47 minutes into today's spacewalk. Today's spacewalk is expected to last about 6 hours and 40 minutes. Our spacewalkers today are 2 NASA astronauts, Chris Williams, who's completing the 2nd spacewalk of his career, and Jessica Meir, who is completing her 5th.
Bravo 7. And I'm looking at the access to the mutts. I think I can get, we were worried about access to number 1, I think, right? But I think there's plenty of clearance.
That's a great report. Thank you. And yes, we were concerned with the wobble.
Can you verify with the orientation of the scoop right now?
Yeah, I might need to do a different body position. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jess.
For the jaws of the mutt. So look, is this the orientation you were expecting?
Stand by. Oh, sorry, I can't quite see.
Yeah, I think this makes sense for how the scoop is. This is going to be able to attach to the scoop handle. The only problem is you might want to put the rat on the other side of the scoop. So take a look. Jaws are going to close around the starboard side, and the rat is there.
Let me do that. The scoop is locked, so I can do that. Concur?
Concur.
Houston's following along.
Right, this MDSU is rather inconvenient.
Yeah. Well, notes on the worksite, Jenny. For me, like positioning that scoop, the one thing that would be good to hold on to the body position is that other temp stow ring that has the sharp edge concerns. So, and then the bag is right there as well. So I think it works really well to have Chris get the scoop from the aft side.
All right, I copy the report, Jess. We do believe you could hold on to the edge of that spare ring, just not the grounding tabs. Those are the sharp edge concerns. locations.
Okay, copy, that's good to know. And I can see those grounding tabs.
Copy.
And the main task of today's spacewalk is to replace joint number 5 of the wrist joint on the Canadarm2, which malfunctioned during May 27th normal operations. An elevated motor current was experienced and the arm did not move as expected. There is a spare joint on board the International Space Station that Meir and Williams are working to release as we speak that will be installed into the Canadarm2 today.
Counter 2.
Bravo 7, counter 2 is set.
Good readback. You can start releasing EDFs. We suggest you start with EDF 5. This will be 5.5 turns.
Copy, EDF 5, 5.5 turns. I see it, and I'm briefing and getting that in work.
Copy.
I have a ret on the APSR.
Copy. And a reminder, this is the potential sticky locking collar APFR. We're well equipped to handle that should it come up.
And Williams now going to use the pistol grip tool in order to further release the spare joint on board the space station.
Great news. Thanks, Jess.
I am starting turns on EDF 5.
Copy.
That's 5.5 turns on EDF, and started pulling out when I took the PGT off. That's a good sign.
Copy. 5.5 turns on EDF 5, and it started pulling out. Confirm you can pull it all the way out with the lanyard.
Gonna work. Lanyard's a little bit twisted. Let me see if I can get my hand in there. EDF 5 is fully extracted. All of the retaining tethers are good. Looks like the bolt at the top did come a little bit loose, though.
Okay, we copy, and it does look like it's popped out to us, so that's a good config.
And Jetty, a clocking of 9, correct?
And with that first fastener successfully removed, Williams is now going to work on removing the remaining 5 on the spare joint.
Is the stickiness of... Okay.
Or 1. Go ahead, Jess.
The EDF 6.
I have a black on black and a good pull test, but I'm not passing the phone port twist.
Copy.
I'm starting turns on EDF 6.
Houston copies.
This sticky locking collar, I can see that I'm in... I think what's happening is it's not going to black on black.
All right, we copy.
And now that I'm in the whiff, it's not running all the way to...
And Jess, we just want to make sure that there's no interference as you're installing this with structure.
Okay,
so potentially you could deploy the ingress aid. We think that that might have been preventing a good install. The locking collar might be a separate issue.
I'm watching the ingress aid. I can see it's coming close to the SP2, but it's not impacting. And I actually got it now. I have black on black locking of 9 and a good pull twist test.
Okay, excellent. Your other settings are Fox Fox Charlie 6.
Fox Fox Charlie 6.
Good readback.
And EV1 can confirm that EDF6 is extracted.
Copy, EDF6.
And same thing on EDF6. It does look like that nut at the end. It does look like that nut at the end unthreaded a little bit.
All right, we copy. Not a concern, but EDF6 is extracted. You can move on to EDF1.
Copy, EDF1 in work.
Williams continuing to make good progress in removing the fasteners from the spare joint outside the International Space Station.
And Jenny, I've increased my cooling to 7 for the time being. But I think with this one, I know that we thought it had the collar. I think it's actually the pitch knob, my old nemesis, that is very sticky. You can see that it is locked. Now I can push it in, but I'm unable to turn it. Oh, wait, there it goes. Not turning.
We copy.
And meanwhile, Jessica Meir is working to remove the articulating portable foot restraint from the worksite interface structure on board the International Space Station and get that installed, where she will be utilizing it today.
And the pitch knob is locked, can be depressed. Let's see, that was Charlie and 6, correct?
A-firm, Fox Fox Charlie 6, and copy, good check on the pitch knob.
And we're starting to come up into a sun pass of the International Space Station, which orbits the Earth every 90 minutes. So we'll see a sunset and sunrise every 45 minutes throughout the duration of our spacewalk today.
Let's see my BRT down here.
Okay, we copy. That was the one that we thought might be a more challenging reach with the wobble, too.
Yeah, if you had the shorter one, I think it would have been doable. Let me see. One last try.
Hey, good data. Thank you, Chris.
I have Charlie 6, that as well.
Copy. Those are good settings. We are ready for you to reconfigure the port APFR. We're looking for Fox Fox Lima 6.
Copy.
I'm going to try Bravo 7 counter 2 on EDF6.
Good settings.
For 1, sorry.
And that should be EDF1, A-firm.
Five and a half turns.
Copy, 5.
Jenny, I see that this handrail that I was planning on using for a lot of actions, which is just on the front face of ESP2, just starboard of my APFR, does have a handrail clamp on it. So does that mean I cannot waist tether to it?
Good question, Jess. You can use that as a local tether point. Obviously, we don't want that to be your prime load path, but it's legal for a local.
Copy, legal for a local. And also for BIP.
Affirm.
Copy.
Okay, Jenny, I've got those 3 EDFs, 6, 5, and 1 released and pulled out.
Copy. 6, 5, and 1 released and pulled out. And Chris, next steps for you are, as written, to maintain control of the joint for Jess's bolts to be released. But since you have a little extra time here, if you can reach EDF 4, that's the one under the scoop, we would also like you to attempt to release that one.
And we are getting some really great views of our spacewalkers today now that we are back in a day pass. NASA astronaut Chris Williams is wearing that spacesuit with the red stripes on the top of your screen, and NASA astronaut Jessica Meir is on the bottom left of your screen. You can just see her legs and feet there, but she is wearing the unmarked spacesuit today. In the center of your screen is the spare joint that our duo is working to remove from its temporary stowage location and get it in a configuration to eventually be able to install later today on the Canadarm2. We've just surpassed the 1 hour mark in today's spacewalk. The crew is continuing to make good progress and is running about 20 minutes or so ahead of the timeline. Today's spacewalk did begin at 7:20 a.m. Central Time, so we are 1 hour, 1 minute, and 30 seconds into the 280th spacewalk in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades.
Five and a half turns on DF4.
Copy. 5.5 turns, EDF4. I see you stowing your PGT, Chris. We'll also take a confirmation that the lanyard can be pulled out.
Yep, stand by. I need to, I think, get down there a little bit more to get in position for that.
Copy.
And NASA astronaut Chris Williams is working to stow that PGT or pistol grip tool for now, but it won't be the last that we see of it today, certainly. It will come into play quite a bit during today's spacewalk. Also in view just above his head there is the mini workstation, which has a variety of tools and tethers and items that will be utilized during today's spacewalk.
After 5.5 turns. Came out a little bit, but not the whole way.
Copy. We're talking it. Chris, we would like you to try jiggling this EDF as you're pulling it out. If that does not work, we will move to doing an additional 2 turns.
Copy. Let me, if I can get a better position here.
And Williams continuing to work through steps to release that spare wrist joint.
Yeah, the scoop is kind of in the way for me to get a good hand on it.
All right, my APFR is set in Lima 6.
Copy. Good APFR settings. Thanks, you two. Now we will get Jess to reposition for releasing EDF 2, and the last EDF we'd planned for is EDF 3. So after EDF 2, let's just take a pause and make sure that Chris can maintain control of the spare joints. And I have consumables updates when you're ready.
Yeah, EV1 copies all and ready.
Two copies, just one point. I'm in a good position right now for bolt 2. Since it's more port, I think I'm going to need to stay here more port, which means after the bolt, Chris, I could reposition a little bit to help you guide it in.
Copy.
That make sense to you?
Does.
I can, yeah.
And Houston's fine with that plan.
And if you've been following along, Williams has released several of the fasteners that are securing the spare joint to the structure outside the space station. And now Jessica Meir is going to work to release the remaining fasteners.
You're both doing a great job. The limiting consumable is EV1 MEDOX at 7 hours, and you're around 20 minutes ahead of the timeline. But I think a lot of the dev you guys have done in the past hour will really pay dividends for the rest of the EVA. Great work.
EV1 copies.
EV2.
Jess, this PGT setting will include Bravo 7, so we'd like you to brace appropriately. Let me know when you're ready for those settings.
Okay, and I'll give you a caliper.
And outside of Jessica Meir's helmet camera on the right hand of the screen, we are seeing a view of the Earth below. The International Space Station orbits the Earth every single 90 minutes and is currently beginning a pass into the United States. It's just flying over the Pacific Ocean now, but soon will be passing along the coast of Olympia, Washington, and will be flying over the entire United States, essentially, including directly over Houston, Texas, here in just a couple of minutes. We'll let you know when we're overhead in Houston, but as of right now, the International Space Station is just currently over Olympia, Washington, and so here shortly, just a couple minutes from now, it will be over Houston. That's how fast the space station flies, 17,500 miles per hour. If you want to see when you can spot the International Space Station flying overhead, you can check out our app, Spot the Station, as well as our website, and you can enter in your location where you live and see when the International Space Station will fly overhead. And this view from inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where the Orbit 2 team is being led by NASA Flight Director Fiona Enkoviak. Here in Mission Control Houston, there are a variety of console positions that are staffed to maintain the International Space Station and its systems, including during today's spacewalk. Today's spacewalk is the 280th in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades.
After the handover, and we can confirm Bravo 7 counter 2.
Bravo 7 counter 2 is set, and I'm looking for 5.5 turns.
Affirm, and we have it down that this is EDF 2.